Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode. So this is episode 4. It's been 3 episodes so far, and we're just having fun with it. And today we are going to talk about what drives our attention towards the opposite sex. So obviously this is going to be different because the age difference, where we're at in life, maybe how many relationships we've been with, and how many people we've been with.
Yeah,
So
our taste is similar, but it definitely has its differences,
yeah, and I just,
what
again, it
attracts
comes
us.
down to like our age gap, and
Mhm.
I think also what we like to do in terms of like, where we meet people. I mean,
Yeah.
even though we're in the same industry. So yeah, you go ahead first. What
What
I'm gonna start with a question. So what catches your attention first when a guy just like, you feel drawn to him or you feel interested?
are you talking more physical? It can be anything like physical or
Well, the first
whatever.
thing that we
It
can
is
see is
physical.
physical. So it will
Yeah.
be physical because that's your
Okay.
first impression.
I feel like I'm all over the place because I've been attracted to I've been attracted to different people for different reasons. No. Some people I'm attracted to, it comes with over time after getting to know them. So I guess if you're talking more physical attraction, what attracts me, honestly, in the gym, what attracts me first is seeing someone who is hardworking. Because that's where I normally attract my eye, is not normally out in public. It's going to be in the gym setting.
Mhm.
So it's normally if like someone's, working out and I'm attracted to their body, or it might be their eyes, or it might be their smile. The smile is my weakness, like if you have a nice smile, it's like game over for me. Probably that. I've found that I'm very attracted to brunettes and dark features for some reason. I don't know what it
Mhm.
is. I've dated a couple blondes or one blonde. Um, but the dark features really attracts me. I don't know if it's just like the little scruffiness or what it is about guys with dark features, but that's what normally attracts me.
Okay.
First glimpse, that's what I'm attracted to.
Yeah, like what you can just
Oh,
detect with the eye.
I am a sucker for veins. Don't know what it is, but I
Oh,
love a veiny arm. A veiny arm, or like just looking at a veiny arm, I'm like, that's hot to me.
well, it shows
You know?
the level of conditioning too. First thing.
Yeah. No,
So
but
I
some
guess we can see.
no, not like I'm shaming anybody in their off season. You definitely
No,
can still have
no,
veins
no,
in your
no,
off
no. But
season.
you know what I mean. Like it
Yeah.
shows they stay in shape. Like
Yeah.
someone who's not
True.
in shape is not gonna have veins.
True. This
But
is true.
it just makes it that much manly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. But you
For
know what?
me,
Sorry, I want to say one more thing. I have been known to go for the pretty boys though. Like, look at my history with
yeah,
guys.
don't we all? But in a sense,
Yeah.
because there has to be physical attraction
I
first
know.
thing, but then once you get to know them, that either is going to go shoot them up another 3 points up or really bring it down to like a
Yeah.
0.
Yeah.
So um for me, honestly, like I'm not in the setting where like I have met the people that I've met like just in a setting like the gym, to be honest, because it was either through a friend and then I met them in person and then something came out of that. But then it's not like I chose someone in the room. But if I were to choose someone in a room, obviously, um, this can kind of, honestly, I didn't have a type before. Like I did, but I didn't. So I was into like guys with blonde hair or like blue eyes, and total different because that's not so like common in the Latin industry in the Latin community when we talk about like
We're
yeah,
always like fitness industry, whatever. That's why you said it.
we're in industry too. So
Yeah.
it's not so common. So I wanted to like branch out to like the white boy kind of situation. So obviously my type was like that, but then I also was into like the brunettes and like the beard, which is like Nick. So it's kind of like I went back to what I knew, but if I were to look at someone, I think it's more so the way they carry themselves when I see them. And let's say if they're working out in a gym, um, how much effort they're putting into what they're doing. I think
Yes,
that will
I
be the
agree.
first thing that will make them physically hot to me.
Yeah,
Because
like if
then,
they're walking around with their shoulders up going like, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
no,
And
huge turn off.
they're, grunting after every set, making a huge scene. It's like, whoa,
Yeah,
you need to
just
chill.
you literally look the other way. Actually, you don't look.
Yeah, yeah.
So, definitely like how they carry themselves, and I think that says body language is like very, very
Hmm.
like even though you're not having a one-on-one with that person, I think the body language can really tell you a lot about them. So,
Yeah.
um,
Well, that was like one of my exes. When I tell you, when I saw him, it was a perfect example of what we're talking about right now. I saw him in a gym setting. And I don't know if I said this on another podcast, but I saw him and his eyes, to this day, I have never seen prettier eyes in my entire life. His eyes are so blue. You know who I'm talking about?
yeah,
So blue. They're like shocking. You look at him,
like
when you see someone
piercing.
and yes, when you see someone in public and like you just have to tell them that their eyes are so nice.
Yeah.
He has those eyes,
Did you go up?
perfect. Just did not go up to him, but perfect smile. I was like, oh my God. And he had blonde hair and it's normally not my type. And it was like the only blonde that I was even attracted to. I'm like, this is so weird. I left the gym and I downloaded Tinder. I was the first year in the first
Oh
year.
yeah, that's the one that
Because I
you're like.
yeah, because I didn't have Tinder and I downloaded the app just so I could scroll through. I
No,
like a
you
couple
said
months it
this
took
crazy
me.
story in our
Yeah,
previous
it took me
podcast.
a couple months. And then yeah, I found him. I followed him on Instagram. I
Wasn't
DM'd
it
him
easier to
first.
just go after him?
I never saw him again after that. And I
Oh,
figured
okay.
out his gym time was 5 p.m., which it still is. And
Not a creep
yeah,
at all.
nope. Oh, it was so bad. And then I went to the gym one time and I saw him. I went home, did my makeup, and came back. I was obsessed. Okay. I was
I'm gonna come back
obsessed.
for that.
And then it was so weird though, because someone can be so attractive. And like him and I are good now, whatever. We broke up because of whatever. And like we're really good friends. And I still think he's a cute guy, but thinking of how I used to look at him and how I thought he was the hottest like guy ever, And after all the things that we went through, it actually made him so much less attractive to me.
Yeah.
I feel like that's why I don't really have like that type of attraction that's like over obsessive
Yeah.
with him anymore either, right? And
Because
he was
it was
so
mostly like physical, and then when you get into that physical infatuation, then you
yeah.
get wrapped up into that. Then you kind of try to deal with their personality if there are flaws or there are interactions you don't like. You try
Yes.
to justify them just because you physically just feel that attracted to them.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong, like we were like a great pair in the beginning and everything. There were a few things though that automatically from the start I noticed and I just never attacked the situation and like handled that situation properly. And then over time it built up and that's kind of why we also broke up, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, because he was so attractive too, like those things I was like, oh, it's whatever, like in the beginning.
Yeah.
But we did have a lot of good things about the relationship too, obviously. But
Yeah. But
definitely those things can be sorry.
yeah, like they're determining factors of
Yeah.
like who you really want or what you don't want
Yeah.
and what you want. Yeah. So what's the point where you're like, okay, I need to let go of the physical? And okay, here's a better question. Do you think personality over looks any day? But if you were put again with someone that's completely, let's just say to the eye, it's a 4 out of 10. That's a really low number.
Yeah.
And it has an amazing personality.
Oh, I would be so attracted to the person. And I would, if I built something with them,
Mhm.
I would totally overlook it. And because personality can make a person be so attractive.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, 100%.
Okay, so
I would.
what are the qualities that you look for in a man?
Probably, I feel like this stems from my other relationships with me noticing that they didn't have these qualities. So probably someone who cares about, my lifestyle, my goals, doesn't put themselves only first. We're a team, has interest in what I'm doing and where I'm going in life and is supportive of that, someone who supports me,
Mm-hmm.
someone who is trusting, someone's very like, no, you don't have to be totally open, right from the get-go, but
Mm-hmm.
someone who's able to speak to me like comfortably,
Yeah.
um yeah, those are qualities that I look for, and someone where I can just sit in a room with them and not have to think about what we're going to be talking about. Because if I have to think about what we're going to talk about and it doesn't just run smoothly, it kind of turns me off. It's kind of like, okay, we're not a good fit. In the
Yeah.
beginning, though, when you're first getting to know someone, obviously it can be, you're nervous a little bit and you don't know what to say sometimes or how they're going to think of you, right? But once, if you talk to that person for a few months and you still are kind of like finding things that you need to talk about,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of
It's
like,
not
okay,
it.
maybe you're not really that compatible, How
I
about
feel
you?
like if
Like,
it's
what
not,
do you think?
well, to me, obviously, like I've been in like just few relationships that have been like
Mhm.
long, but again, it's just I've learned what I want and what I don't want. So basically, I don't want someone who is a yes man because I've had that. And I want someone who's going to challenge me to be better because I know I don't want someone to just go with what I say or like deal with the way that I am. I want someone who's going to challenge me in a way where it's going to make me grow, right? So not point out my flaws so much, but just kind of find that medium where it's like, it's making me a better person. I don't know if
Yeah.
that makes sense, but
No, yeah.
um obviously communicating. I feel like when I trust someone, I open up and I'm vulnerable, but I also am willing to admit the things that I need to like work on. So I guess I look for not someone who's from like the get-go is going to go like, oh, here I am. It's kind of like you wrap like a little unwrap a gift. You kind of give the trust to that person and then you open up accordingly to what they're giving you or the kind of comfort that they're giving you and that trust that you build over time. So communication in that sense, and obviously trust, and ambition. Like I want a man that's like always wanting more
Yeah.
and but still is able to live in the present because I find that I am the kind of person that focuses so much on what's next that it creates so much anxiety. So it's like I need a grounding force that it's not like I can ground myself, but I need someone who's ambitious enough, but he's also able to live in the present, but he's also going to ground me, you know?
Well,
Um,
yeah, because with me, I feel like if I got into a relationship right now, I find that I can be very selfish in
mhm.
the sense where I'm just constantly wanting to do my own thing. And I think I've said this before. I don't want to hang out with someone every single day, but I also feel like if I found someone that I was compatible with and I feel like I could see myself with, then I would make those sacrifices. But thinking about being with someone right now, I don't think that I'm ready to make those sacrifices because I feel like I'm always, okay, what am I doing next? What am I doing next? And
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
You'd
So
be
you
so
talk
used to
about
being
how,
independent. So, like, for you to be like, oh, I'm going to dedicate my time to this person that you've been dedicating to yourself and grow yourself,
yeah,
it has to be someone that's really worth your time, someone that's
yeah.
organic. Like, you feel like you want to be with that person every day, or like, however much time you invest in this person is because it truly interests you.
Yeah, like if I were to invest in someone right now, it's because I really, really like them, you know?
And what I can gather from obviously, like, nowadays, this generation, you need to really be selective who you spend your energy, your time,
Oh, for sure. Because
everything.
that's the biggest thing is I hate when people waste my time. If you're going to play games with me, I just don't care and I will just walk away right away. Like I do not want that. Like if you're going to play games, yeah. Like and the previous person I talked to, it was just going on for too long and I'm like I just don't have time for this, so I don't care about it
No.
anymore and I've lost feelings now because I'm not playing these games back and forth.
Yeah.
Like I don't have time to put out that energy. I could be putting this time somewhere else. I'm so much about my time and I value like every hour I have throughout my day. And like if I'm not doing something productive, I come down myself a lot. And like that's what I have to start noticing because I'll just have a shitty day if I like spend 3 hours in the morning doing nothing. That's
Hmm.
why like I try to always fill my time all the time now. And but sometimes I need to realize when I just need to relax, because my
Yeah.
mind's always going. And like if I'm sitting down if I'm watching anything on Netflix, it's when I'm eating, because I'm like, okay, if I just watched Netflix and just sat down and wasn't doing anything, then I would feel guilty. Like there's always things running through my head, and I'm like, hey, sometimes I just have to chill.
Yeah.
But comparing this to relationships, it's like, that's why I'm like, oh, it's just a waste of time. But it won't be if it's benefiting me, if I really like that person. But if you waste my time and I'm trying to put an effort in, that's when I snap. It's like I could be using this time so much more with something else,
Yeah. But I also feel like this stems from your bad experience. Like, for example, the
Yeah.
recent one. I feel like for the next one, you're going to be so on guard because you're going to be scared that this person is going to, again, waste your time.
Yeah.
Because I found that you put so much effort into trying to fit into this guy's life, not fit into his life, but trying to make it work,
Yeah.
trying to compensate for the part that he wasn't doing, that now you're going to be so on guard with the next person. And I feel like this can either obviously help you kind of screen for the people who are wrong for you, but also it can like perhaps make you miss an opportunity that perhaps you're resisting because you are so caught up on the fact that you don't want anyone to waste your time.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, is sometimes when people reach out to me, I automatically think, oh, they're just going to be an asshole. And I never give sometimes people the opportunity. And I think to myself, oh, I could see myself talking to this person, but I'm like, no, you know what? I can just already tell there's some red flags. So I'm just going to not even put in an effort, when actually it's just triggering from other people what they've done in the past in relationships,
Yeah, and I
and
feel
then
like that's
later
what you
on,
need
it's
to
like,
tell apart.
yeah, I know it's gotten me a little bit to try to figure out, but I mean, there's nothing really
It's
happening
fine.
right now.
I feel like it's
Yeah.
easy to see like when there is like a red flag, honestly,
Oh, for sure.
nowadays.
Yeah.
And I saw so many red flags on this guy when you told me about him right away. I
Yeah.
was like, but obviously, again, sometimes when you're in the relationship, you see things that other people on the outside may not be able to see, and then you give it the benefit of doubt. And then
Yeah. And I
there's where
think I gave him the benefit of the doubt because he was so
you
different from
totally
anyone
did.
else I ever talked to as well. Like he had different goals, he had different lifestyle, different values in life. So it made me see differently. And I feel like
But you were
that's
open,
kind of
which
my
is a good
excuse.
thing.
Yeah.
But you were
Before,
open to the idea and to
yeah.
the opportunity that was in front of you, which
Yeah.
is not bad.
But for example, like the person I just told you, I'm like, oh, like I would have been so interested in talking to him. And then I found out he has a girlfriend,
Yeah.
like
Huge red flag.
it's just like, and
Yeah.
that's what I also don't like, is some girls are like, oh, he has a girlfriend, but he doesn't want to be with her, but he's gonna leave her for me. It's like, you do realize
No.
that that's a trait already, that you're putting yourself into a situation that's gonna go
It's
south,
if he
because
does
it's
that
gonna
with
do it to
you,
you too.
he's gonna do it to you.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
what's gonna stop him?
yeah. I
Really
know.
nothing. So it's patterns. So it's not the situation, because you can get out if you don't want to be with her, leave her, and then perhaps maybe we can talk. But
Mhm.
again, if the patterns is that, oh, you don't want to be with this person, but you're still with this person, but you want to talk to the other person, then you know there is a pattern, like a huge red flag right there. Just like, don't do it.
Yeah,
Don't even put yourself through that. Or set your
exactly.
boundaries. Say, if you really want to talk to me, then get your stuff sorted. And then maybe down the road, when you feel ready and I feel ready to trust, then we can go ahead. And I feel like
Exactly.
that's the part where people lack the most now, is like communicating, like the way that you want to express exactly what you want to say. I feel like people just throw it away,
Yeah.
like right away. But I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, with communicating, sometimes I'm too open. I will straight up call you and be like, I am in love with you. I've done it before. I will straight up tell you I am growing feelings for you, because that's another part of me that's like, I don't want to waste my time. So I just flat out, obviously not on the first couple dates, I'm going to be like, I like you.
Hmm.
But if there's been nothing said and there's a lot of questions in the air on where it's going, I'm going to tell you what I'm feeling.
Yeah,
Or if you tell me something, I'm going to straight up tell you, I do not feel that way, or I'm not sure yet, or whatever it is. And you can take it however you want it.
yeah.
But if you had to think of the biggest turn off in a guy, what would it be? Or in anyone?
Biggest turn off. Hmm. I feel like it could be
I know.
many.
I know. It's kind of like, what type of turn off?
Okay, so I wouldn't say it's a turn off, but more so it will tell me exactly the kind of person or your character. So if you don't get along with your family, like if
Yeah.
your family is not important to you, perhaps there was a situation where the family situation didn't work out, maybe it's different.
Yeah.
But if it's just like if you realize that the problem is you and then not your family, then that's going to tell me a lot about
Oh
you. So
yeah.
obviously you got to dig deeper because every situation is different when it comes to family. But
Well, I've
for
seen
most,
scenarios where people I'm with, when they talk back to their parents, and I'm like, if I ever talked to my mom that way, I would be smacked.
I wouldn't
Like, you
be
know what I
here.
mean? Yeah.
My
Yeah.
mom will, yeah,
And
no,
it's at the end of the day, even if you get into a fight with your family, like you can't say things, certain things to your family, you
no,
know?
because
Yeah.
family is family. Okay. Like, and we're talking about immediate, like close family. We're not talking about just family because it's different. But your mother, your father, your brothers, I feel like that is just a tight circle that you either there there may be situations, but it will tell you a lot about that person, how conflictive they are, or how selfish, how full of themselves, or whatever, how not open they are about problem solving. And I think that will determine if that person is like worth. I'm not saying they're not worth it, but I'm just saying to just be more careful. I guess it would
Yeah.
just completely like push me away a little and just make me a little skeptical about them as a character.
Yeah. I agree.
So it's like not like more so like a turn off. It's just um impression of the character. So and then a turn off, like immediate, like something common. If your hygiene is totally horrible, like if your
How do
hygiene
you
is
not smell
not,
yourself?
yeah, if your hygiene is and you're like presentable is not, like you don't have to have fancy name brand stuff. Like no, you
Well,
don't have
that's why
to stay.
I'm always stressing because my sister would be like, "Were you cooking chicken?" I'm like, "I literally was right when I left my house." I'm always so scared because I cook so much. So I'm like, I don't want anyone to smell my food. My sister's always like, "I can smell that you're cooking your chicken." I spray myself. I like, but my condo also has issues, with my condo
Yeah.
and the vents. But my probably my biggest turn off is someone trying to flash to me how much either their family has or telling me how much their friends have or how much money they have or whatever. There's one way where, I can look at it in a good way where it's like, he's very proud of himself, he's successful, and, like he's just trying to show me that he's motivated or whatever, or that he is taking care of himself, whatever it might be. And I've had a guy say, "Oh, like I did this for my parents, whatever." Like I'm like, "Oh, that's so nice of you that you're able to
Hmm.
do that." Those are nice things. But I have had recently a guy send me a photo about the amount, how much he prepaid on his Amex or whatever, or how much he put on his Amex. And I'm replying, "Oh, wow," or "Oh, like cool," or whatever, just so that he would be like, "Oh, yeah, I don't even know. I should have just not replied to it." But I was like, that is such a turnoff. Why are you showing me how much? I don't care how much you spent on your trip. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like, not like I dislike this person or anything, but it was just kind of like he thought that he was impressing me, but he's doing the complete opposite, you know?
Okay. Okay. I will say this. That shows insecurity on his part
That's what I'm saying.
because he identifies himself with money and that validates him and he thinks people validate him for that. But I also don't blame him because nowadays, with the kind of girls that are out there just to gold dig whoever they can, I feel like some guys think that is the card of presentation to many girls so they can be impressed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I
But
agree.
I think that's a way to catch the wrong ones too. So they're
Hmm.
doing it all wrong. So if you
Yeah.
think that's just gonna
Well, it
bring the
normally
right
works
girls,
on the girls that he hangs out with. So that's probably why he thought that would work on me. But he already knows I'm not like that.
yeah.
So
So
him
it's the
saying
wrong
that,
girls. So I'm like, boy, you're putting a freaking bait for the wrong ones. So you just
yeah.
want to be like for people to extortion you. Like literally, that's what you're doing.
But
So
that's another turn off for me too, is when, like you said, people are insecure. I hate when this is because people say to me, "Oh, guys don't reach out to you because they're intimidated." Well, they're intimidated. Like, that's just what people have said to me. But I think if people aren't reaching out to me because they're intimidated, that just means that they're insecure with themselves. Like,
Yeah, they think they're
it's,
not good enough.
yeah. Like, it's not like I'm Megan Fox. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
Hey, you're close. A lot of
no,
guys be like,
but
I want to take Britt out on a dinner. I'm like, so freaking ask.
who? Can you please tell me? Because I'm not getting asked out.
I'm not gonna drop names.
Okay, well, tell me after. So from
But
where
like,
you are or where I'm from?
where you're from, you're gonna say no regardless. But anyway,
Yeah, you would have already told me if I was interested. But
yeah,
anyway,
I would have told you if it's worth your time.
yeah, right away, I hope. But yeah, so if guys aren't reaching out to me because he's insecure, I don't want to talk to you anyway. And
Yeah.
okay, there's a difference between someone, that might be a little bit nervous or whatever, on edge. It might not mean that they're insecure about themselves, but I I find it so attractive too, going back to like first impressions. If I'm talking to the person, I love when a guy comes off very confident in the situation, whatever we are talking about, and like is able to talk to me and able to keep up the conversation or whatever. But I get it's kind of hard to tell because some people genuinely are just nervous. Like another guy that I dated
Mm-hmm.
before, I had to like teach him how to say thank you through a drive-through because like he just didn't know how to speak to people, and I had to like pull it out of him, and I really
Yeah.
liked him. So it's different for everyone, but definitely like a first impression. I like it when someone is just very confident going into the situation. They're confident with themselves. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Someone who's shy, it might make me drift away a little bit because I don't know how to approach the situation next, or I don't really know how to talk to the person. So it's definitely easier to getting to know someone who is more confident because I feel like I'm a very open person. Sometimes I'll seem like very smiley and like shy or whatever, but talk to me for 2 seconds and I'll open up right away, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. If you pass the vibe check, obviously.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I get what you mean on the shy and then insecure. I think it's kind of cute if there is like some sort of shyness, like shyness. Is that a word?
Yeah. No,
Yeah, let's
yeah.
make it a word. Okay.
Okay.
If someone's shy, I just think it's kind of cute. And in a sense, it shows some sort of like respect in a way that he feels like that I need a little more effort to be approached
Yeah. You know what?
and
I
like a
agree
little
after you say that.
hesitation because
Yeah.
I see it as I don't know, like I don't see it as like a bad thing, but if it's like completely insecure, then she's out of
Well,
my
I think
league.
because I'm
And
gonna think that they're not interested or anything.
yeah,
But if someone comes off sometimes really confident, it can be a great thing, but it can also turn into them being very cocky,
yeah,
you
you
know?
need to set the boundary between coming off full of yourself and
We're
then
very picky here. We're being
confident.
very picky. Find the balance,
Yeah.
everyone.
And I feel like everyone should. I feel
Yeah.
like everyone should be very picky with the things that you can't settle. And
Well, for example, this guy that I was interested in talking to at the gym, he's so shy and he doesn't talk. And then I think of that as he doesn't want to talk to me. And I actually do think he doesn't want to talk to me. But maybe I'm thinking that because he's too shy. So I literally told myself, I'm like, maybe I should ask him out. And I've never done that before. But I was thinking about it. I'm like, maybe I should just ask him out and see what he says. But he'll be
hey, if
really
he
thrown
says
off,
no, then it's because he
right?
wasn't interested. Then you
That's what
get
I mean. I know
the
my answer.
finals. You need closure here.
Okay, well, what do you think? If I'm replying to this guy's story and he sometimes likes a message, sometimes will respond, but most of the time doesn't answer.
He doesn't
Right?
answer?
Half the time, maybe, or he'll at least throw a like in there, or if I start a conversation, he'll say like, haha, or he'll just like the message. He's definitely not interested.
Mm, no.
He's not, right? So I can't ask him
No.
out. He talked to
Okay,
me for like
because
2 days. It was great conversation. Like, oh, this is going somewhere. And then
did you say something that may have because we think about ourselves, right?
I
Like
think it was
we
something that
want.
happened like 2 years ago that he's just not over.
Okay, so that's his problem.
Yeah, right? Like,
Yeah, so if someone's caught up with other shit that happened in the past, then
let it
maybe
go.
it's too serious for them, then it's a deal breaker. But
Yeah. I
just
don't
let it
think it was
go.
serious, but yeah.
Yeah,
But I
just
mean, he was talking to me. Well, I can't even say talking to me. He was just answering me for 2 days. And I'm like, okay, this is great. It's going
Brittany's
somewhere.
like talking to herself. He likes me.
Could have one answer reply. Oh my God, he
Yeah,
said, hey.
she's like, Oh, he likes.
But I was playing the whole I'm so chill thing, like replying very basic, you know. So because
Yeah,
I'm
like
having
not
fun.
try hard.
Inside, I'm like freaking out, you
You know
know.
when you're like to put so much effort into something that you want to reply because you don't want to say the wrong thing.
Oh yeah, I call like 4 friends, and I'm like, what should I say?
I feel like I did that when I was talking to Nick, just
Yeah.
because one, I it's not like I didn't think I was good enough, but it was totally someone that it was in my kind of world, but at the same time
You were just in
he's
your
an
head.
yeah, and I just think he was like, he's like social like an influencer on social media, and you kind of like find that like those walls that you put up for yourself to be like, well, what if they are actual arrogant, or what if I say something and it
Mhm.
just like rubs them the wrong way? But then
Yeah.
I'm like,
And then probably after 3 days, you were like, okay, and you didn't ask anyone what to say or anything.
no, I
That's
was
what always
just like,
happens to me. I'm like, oh, what do I say? Like the first day or whatever.
or
And then I'm
sometimes when
like,
you overthink, you say things that are awkward, and you're like,
oh yeah. And then you
I'm like,
start
why did
writing
I
a
say that?
paragraph and you're like, oh my God, I need to shorten this down.
Yeah, and then you start delete, and then you start
Yeah.
retyping, and
Yeah.
they're
And
probably
then
like,
you've already opened it and they've already seen it probably,
yeah.
or
So
we're
now
just female, or just the females think this, but guys definitely, that's the thing.
I've
Okay.
unsent so many things, but that as soon as like hit unsend, it's like seen. And that happened to me once. And I
I
was like,
hate it. But you know what? Sometimes us girls are like, oh my God, we're crazy. Guys definitely don't think this hard. They do. They tell each other everything. If
yeah,
you are talking to somebody and you're asking their friend for advice and you think that they're not telling that person, they 150% are.
guys talk more than girls.
Yes, it is a
Like some
thing.
of the
I've
gossip,
seen it.
I,
It's
I, I
like,
like find it out from like through Nick or something. I'm
yeah,
like, you guys talk more than girls.
yeah, you guys are worse than girls. Oh yeah,
So,
they're
so
awful.
bad.
Yeah,
So
they
bad.
tell you everything. We were just talking before this. I'm like, yeah, he probably told him, right? You're like, yeah, 100%. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
oh
oh
shit.
yeah. I already knew
Yeah,
because they talk.
yeah.
So, I
Guys
mean,
talk.
yeah, when guys are like, yeah, just keep this as a secret, don't expect it as a secret
Yeah.
because this is not going to be a secret. So,
Also, a huge turn off is when I am talking to someone and let's say we do shit, whatever, when they start spreading that we did more than actually happened, one, that is my personal business. And two, if you start making it seem like this huge thing that happened, it's like shame on you for saying that
yeah,
because I feel like you're taking advantage. I feel like, what's the right word? I
when they
feel
just,
very,
well, it just feels like they have the balls to talk so much crap to make themselves look
yeah. But
more
I feel
of a
like
bigger deal than they actually
I
are.
feel like you're exposing me and you're being disrespectful to my body and what I actually did.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you're telling people that we went all the way or whatever when we didn't, it's like, why are you telling people that? Even we probably would have, but now it's me
It's definitely
losing
a no
trust in
go.
you now and you're trying to look like this, whatever. Oh, I did this, you know, and
This
that's a turn off.
player.
It's like, yeah, it's like why does it even matter? And I feel like, when you talk with your friends and stuff, you sometimes talk about that stuff or whatever, like your close one or two friends. But then when you're telling more people and then it's getting around, that's what I feel like has happened to me a lot. I found out last week that someone said that I flashed my tits to them in the parking lot of the gym. I'm like,
That just seems very possible, like
oh
something
yeah,
that you would do.
for sure. Yeah, I found that out last week.
Like
To
at least make something up that it could actually be true rather than
oh,
something ridiculous.
everyone
That's
at the
just
gym thinks that I'm a hoe. Everyone, like every single person. And because everyone has said that they have slept with me. I
yeah.
can count on my two hands how many people I've slept with, okay? And I have not I've talked to people at the gym, not gonna lie, but I've not slept with that many people and everyone thinks I'm a hoe. Everyone. Well,
I
that was
think
like,
I think the fact that you even exchange words with someone at the gym, they're like, oh, they're sleeping together. It's like it's not. But it's because
well,
when you're pretty, okay, and you seem friendly, you can come off as flirty. Even like me, sometimes I will like be just like when you have a genuine conversation with an opposite sex, it's not your problem if they want to sleep with you. Your
yeah,
intentions are not to sleep with them. And it sucks because even Nick was saying this. He's like, half the time where a guy says they want to be your friend is because they want to fuck. So I'm like,
No, it sucks. I used to have all these guy friends in high school, and now it's like I can't have one because they try to get with
yeah,
me. It's like,
yeah.
what's going on? I had two guys come over here just to hang out because I'm so used to having guy friends in high school. Like I had way more guy friends than girlfriends. I had like two girlfriends. I had like 15 guy friends that we'd all hang out with on the weekends, you know?
Mhm.
And
It's
none
not
of
the
them
same.
ever, some of them tried, but whatever. And so I've had two guys over here at my place because I thought, we're just going for coffee.
No, you're
And,
so naive sometimes too, though. I'm like,
but no,
Britt,
but this is the thing. When your friend texts this person and you text the person saying, hey, there's nothing between us, please don't try anything, like literally say that to them. Like literally say, there's nothing going on between us, please don't try anything with me. If I'm giving off that vibe, I apologize, but I just want a friend because I feel like we get along really well. And they say, oh my God, why would you even think that? Of course not. And they still try something. And then you say, oh, I wasn't expecting that. I don't want that. And then they try again as they're
I
leaving.
know, I
That's
remember.
bad.
Look,
Nice.
yeah. Well, the thing is, I think they have these like superior like way of thinking that they will make you cave. Like they will be tempting enough for you to completely break your word and go for it. Because
But I
again,
feel like a lot has to do with me though, sometimes,
no,
because no, but sometimes I guess because I'm too friendly, guys think, something's gonna happen. But
like you
also
leave the
like
opportunity there for them
not
if it
necessarily leave the
happens.
opportunity, but if I'm being very nice and smiley and whatever, maybe that
Like,
to a guy might think, because that's both of them said that's why they did it, because they ended up apologizing, being like, hey, sorry, I was like that. I just honestly felt that from you that you wanted that or whatever.
but
So
see, this is the part that gets me. If I
so
really
bad.
wanted it, I would go for it too. Don't you
Yeah,
think?
I know.
But if I'm not the one making the
But if
first
someone said
move,
to you before, okay, what would you do in this situation? If a guy said to you, hey, I don't want anything, like if you think this is something, I'm sorry, but I'm just looking to go out for coffee with someone. I don't have, a lot of girlfriends or anything, and I just want to have a good time with you because we have good conversations. You're like, okay, you guys go out for coffee. He comes
yeah,
back.
but first I will not bring them to my place because I feel that once you bring them to your
Yeah, I
place,
did that.
I
He
think
said, I
that
think
is a
I might have,
huge, oh, she wants it.
I don't
Oh,
know if he
maybe
offered
we'll
or if
get,
I offered. But we were sitting, yeah, anyway.
but
We're
that is probably the worst move to make
yeah,
because you only take some, well, I wouldn't know, but I would just assume because of how things work now. It's like, okay, well, come over to my place. I think that's an invitation for something else to happen because
yeah,
your place is supposed to be your safe place where things happen, right?
yeah.
So if
Well,
you,
sometimes I'm in denial, and a lot of guys have told me that. They're like, you are actually stupid. Like you think that you're coming off being nice, but you're actually throwing out signs.
I feel
Apparently,
like
I'm very flirty. Apparently, I'm a
you,
very flirty person.
you
But
are,
I just
you
feel like
are
I
very
smile a lot
friendly.
when I'm talking to someone.
You are very friendly and like you laugh and like you may look like you're flirting, but you're just being you. But I think the way that you need to go about things is like definitely not taking anyone to your place
Yeah,
because I think that leaves the door open for something to happen.
for sure.
So maybe,
Yeah, it's
so
happened
if it's a
every.
coffee or something, I'll be like, yeah, sure, I'm down, but never to my place. Because
Mhm.
again, I think that gives them the wrong idea that something will happen,
Yeah,
right? So that would be my advice.
yeah,
My advice. And just like maybe
yeah.
that's the way to like also make sense of it, right? And then
Well,
they're like,
even
I'll make a move and then it'll lead to more.
Well, even this one guy that I talk to at night at the gym when I go later, we're very good friends. Nothing's ever happened. Him and I are completely on the same page. But he just straight up said, yeah, if you wanted to, I would, but I know that you don't want to, so I'm not going to. I'm like, okay. Like guys said to me too. It's like, oh, well, if you want it, guys, I feel like any guy would just honestly just
Okay, for
like
well,
bang
you're
anybody.
hot.
No.
No,
I'm saying like if any girl had a relationship with a guy in a friend way, the guy always seems to like with whoever, like
be down.
always
Yeah.
be down.
Mhm.
Always. Like there's never a girl and a guy friendship I've seen that at the end of the
It's a
day, the guy
truly,
wouldn't, it's
yeah.
always like that. But yeah,
I don't know
so
what it
I
is.
started getting questions though at the gym oh, are you dating that guy? And like everyone used to go up to him being like, oh, are you dating her? Like, and one guy went up to him and said, oh, good job on like dating her or whatever. And he was like, what? So I went up to him like, no, we're not dating. He's like, oh, when I see you guys talking, it seems like you guys are dating. So that's what I'm getting to. It's like I come off very flirty and smiley and, all hyper maybe or whatever. I don't know, you know?
Yeah,
So
but again, that's the way you are, and in the way that people just stereotype and just categorize certain way that you act is always, oh, they have something. There's something
yeah,
going on because half the time, guys cannot be your friends,
I
unfortunately.
know. I know. And I think that I'm clinging on to how I used to be friends with so many guys in high school.
Times have changed. You have
I
grown.
know.
Things have
I know.
grown.
Well, and I was dating a guy in the friend group, so none of them could even try.
Yeah, so that's another thing. Don't get with the circle of friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just a
Yeah.
disaster waiting to happen because guys talk, like word
Yeah.
gets around like crazy.
Yeah.
So, well, there is also, stop stereotyping that girls, you can get with any girl just because she's
Yeah.
friendly. I
I
think that
know.
needs to stop because honestly, there has to be a certain. But then I guess the female has, in my eyes, the female has the power to stop it all.
I know.
Because one, you'll cut them off, stop talking. Two, even if they talk, you don't get around. So I don't know, your reputation still remains the same. Even if people talk, I will never like I mean, I will probably confront someone if they're saying something about me and then make it clear, but then move on. If people want to talk,
Mhm.
then when they want to talk, I'll still show up like because I did nothing, right?
Yeah.
So I think it needs to, the female has the power to do it all, to stop it, to manage it, or to like completely like, you know,
Yeah. No,
make
I
things
agree.
clear.
Yeah.
So
But I've just never seen a guy in a situation like we're put in where it's like
not
they
that we know
would,
of,
I know, but see, I
it's less.
honestly, even when guys say, yeah, no, I didn't want to sleep with her or anything, I hear from the other end of the girl saying, yeah, he was all over me. He was trying to, you know? And it's crazy to me.
It is,
But there
but
is
it's
guys
less
that don't
common.
do that 100%. There is girls that hit on guys that the guys denied the girl. Like,
Yeah,
obviously, it's happened to me before. Like, oh my God,
yeah.
it's so embarrassing. I did that one time.
I
Because
feel like
I've
also
slept with this guy before, and then I saw him out, and I was like, he totally was just like, no. Sorry, can you hear us?
no.
He was like, totally like, no, I'm leaving. And he left. It was so embarrassing.
What do you mean? Like you want it?
Yeah, because I've slept with him before, and then I saw him out, and I went up to him and was trying to flirt with him, and he was like, no, no, not happening, not happening. And I was like, it's so embarrassing.
Hey, some
So
guys
it
like
does
to stop
happen.
it.
It's happened to
Yeah,
me.
I guess. Well,
Yeah,
that's a first.
yeah, it
Uh,
was bad. But
but
he also
sometimes,
was kind of doing this person that I knew, like they had
yeah.
just
So
broken
I
up.
was just gonna say, but sometimes it's because they have something that they're willing to not, like, cause issues.
Yeah. Oh
Like
yeah,
they
because
want.
that the first time I caused major issues, so that's why
Yeah,
yeah, that was
so they
bad.
just try to stay out of problems because
Yeah.
they've learned the hard way, perhaps.
But I was like, yeah, honestly, good on you though, because it did cause a lot of issues. And I was the idiot I was drunk and I was like, let's go back to your place. And he was like, no.
Hey,
But
you gotta have standards as a boy or a girl.
yeah.
So
So I guess
it's
it does
fine.
happen. Yeah.
Hey, but then that brings into play, like, do you do you believe in one night stands?
What do you mean believe in them? Like,
As in,
do I
like,
support them?
do you support them? Or do you think it's like
I
completely wrong?
I've had a couple and it's not like I've felt like shit after or anything. I just
Yeah.
was kind of like that didn't really do anything for me. And that's why now I don't think I would ever sleep with anybody that wasn't interested in pursuit with because you don't really get anything out of it. Like
No.
when I sleep with someone, like at least now, like I like the affection.
Yeah.
And when you just have a one night stand, it's kind of like, okay, what was that for? You know?
It's so quick, superficial, and just so
Yeah. And like
not.
awkward after.
I feel
And
like
it's
it
just,
makes you feel empty, if anything, doesn't it?
oh, well, the one situation I had, sorry, it's not like I haven't felt like shit. Actually, no, both times I felt like shit. I felt like shit both times.
I'm sure it wasn't your
The
proudest
the
moment.
one guy that I asked to go home with the next time, he felt so, I could just tell he felt so guilty after because he had just ended his relationship. He felt so
Mhm.
guilty. He said, I asked him if he wanted to get food. He sent me an Uber home. I was like, oh my God, like so awful. And I was whatever. The next day, I was like, this is terrible. I think that's why I reached out again, for me to make myself feel better about myself, that it wasn't just like a one night stand. That's probably
Yeah.
why, what motivated me to be like, hey, you know? And then I had one other one that was crazy night in Toronto. I'm not even going to explain it because every hour I was questioning myself. So I don't even want to explain that situation. But
Every
it was,
hour during the moment or
no, every hour of that whole 24
night?
hours. It was the
Oh,
most crazy night ever. And I was really questioning myself. I was young. I thought that he was young.
no,
It was just not okay.
not the ideal scenario.
My sister picked me up in my Chevrolet Avalanche, my first car that had all these dents all over it, and I ran down the street. I don't even want to talk about it.
How old were you?
18.
Okay, yeah,
It
very
was
young,
when I was in university.
careless.
Yeah. So
I feel like
it's
you're
fine.
like you
Honestly,
have.
though, I had so much fun with my friends that night, though. Like, it was so much fun, and it was an experience that was so much fun. And I don't regret it. It was just a really messed up 24 hours that I just don't want to speak on, and I don't think everyone needs to hear it. So
Yeah.
I'm just
No,
not going.
yeah, like we
But
don't have to, like it's
oh no, I know.
private, but
Yeah,
obviously experiences like the one
yeah,
night stand. In my opinion, I think it just
yeah. What's your opinion? Sorry, I kind of blabbed on there.
no, it's fine. Like I literally already stated it. I think like they just leave you feeling empty, if
They
anything.
do.
I don't think
Yeah,
they do anything for you besides perhaps, hopefully not catching an STD because you know who you're
yeah,
getting yourself with. Like
yeah,
you just maybe exchange names, maybe if you remember their name, depending
yeah.
on the scenario and the situation. But I feel like, do you have or do you believe in the whole like waiting X amount of time to give yourself to someone? Like or how do you deal with this sexual tension if there is sexual tension between someone that
Um,
you're developing something with or you just feel attracted to?
I think I wouldn't even put myself in a scenario where it could happen. Um, right from the start, like as in not going to their house right away or somewhere where it could happen,
Hmm.
you know. I probably would go want to go out on a couple dates first, and get to know the person. And I definitely probably wouldn't do it the first time. I have before, and it
Hmm.
turned into a good relationship. So not saying there's anything against it, but I definitely, if I see myself with this person, I would want to go on a few dates with them first to get to know them. And then I feel like the first time, if we did anything, like if we just kissed on the first date or whatever, and then we ended up doing stuff the first time I went to his house, I don't think that I would shame myself for it because I'm developing interest in the person. Like,
Yeah.
what do you think?
Well,
Well,
I
I feel like nowadays, if you're doing anything, you kind of pass that whole phase and just do that. I don't know if it's just me.
what do you mean? Like
If you pass just making out with someone and there's other stuff going on, I feel like you're just going to end up doing that. So, I mean,
yeah,
if I
well,
hung out with them
depends
the
on
first
this.
time, it depends on the scenario and everything. But if I like kissed the person a few times, we went on a few dates, then I wouldn't care if I, did that
Yeah,
later on. But it depends
it
on how I
depends on the
feel.
setting. Like
Yeah.
obviously it's going to depend if you're in a public place or even if you're in, let's say, at their house or your house. If you
Mm.
like someone and you allow that to happen, I feel like it's something, if you trust that person or you want something with that person that's meaningful, I feel like there has to be that talk of like, okay, we're taking things slow, or if it happens, you let it happen. Because I feel like in
Yeah.
that sense, if you feel open to just go for it, I feel like you will go for it. So that's the thing. I was very conservative about that, and like I'll be like, I have to wait X amount of time in order for me to open up that side of me to fully
Mhm.
give myself. Because I feel like once you give yourself that way, I feel like it has to be someone worth it.
Yeah.
But
I feel
obviously,
like it also depends on how you're feeling and your past experiences too, because
yeah.
looking at myself right now, if I was interested in someone, I can't for sure say what I would do, but from my past scenarios, once I do that with someone, I get very attached.
Hmm.
Like like that's I feel like after I get very attached to that person. So knowing myself now with what I've experienced in the past, I feel like I probably wouldn't
Put yourself
the
through that.
first yeah, even if I did have strong feelings, I could see it going somewhere, I feel like I wouldn't. But before the last person I talked to, I feel like I would, you
I
know?
just think it has to be reciprocated for me to do that. Because
Yeah.
if you just don't feel like that person is like fully interested into taking it to the next level, then I'm not gonna go there. Because again,
Well,
that's gonna make me feel like there's already something there. So that's why those girls who like say like sleep with someone right away or when I stand, you're like, so where do we stand? It's like there's nothing
yeah,
to go off of because there was nothing built prior.
exactly.
So there
Yeah.
has to be a little bit of buildup of a history or at least a meaningful feeling for me
Well, you
to do
have to
that.
think about it in the other person's situation because I was put in a situation where the person didn't want to at all
Hmm.
with me. And it had been a while. And I'm like, what are we doing here? Are we going somewhere? Are we not? I was like,
Yeah.
and he wouldn't for the longest time. And I think it's because he wasn't ready. But
Yeah.
it was a while, like it was pretty good amount of time. And I was like, when is it going to happen? Like you have slept over at my house before. I've slept over at your place before. We've gone multiple dates, we've gone out together like multiple times and it wasn't happening. And then it felt like, I'm like, am I his friend? But we do everything else, but like just like kiss and stuff, but
Yeah.
we weren't going in that direction. So I was
Mm.
like, what is happening,
Yeah.
And then so I left the situation, or some of the times when he would leave my place, I left the situation feeling like shit about myself because I was like, am I doing something wrong? Is there something wrong with me? Why does he not want to do anything with me? So you also have to think about it in their perspective too. And it's
Hmm.
just the communication thing though,
Yeah.
he
That's what I was gonna say.
wasn't
I
really
just think there has to
communicating.
be that talk
Yeah.
because you don't want to make the other person feel like you don't want them just as
Mhm.
bad. There's like no sexual tension. Maybe there's something deeper that you need to address. So the other person is like, okay, this is fine. We're going at a different pace that I have before, but it's okay. It doesn't make you feel uncomfortable with yourself. And the other person just left wondering,
Yeah.
like
But I
why?
think also he was trying to be respectful in the fact that he had interest in me. He didn't want to screw it up by doing it right away because
Hmm.
he might have felt like he didn't want me to feel taken advantage of. But then it went so long when I told him that I wanted to, and I'm like, maybe he's not ready and he doesn't want to say that because it
Yeah.
eventually happened or whatever, and it was fine. But I was like, maybe he's just not ready because
Yeah.
the stereotypical thing is that guys always want to and
And then
girls might
girls,
not want to,
yeah.
but genuinely maybe he just wasn't ready.
Yeah.
And I had to respect that, and I had to not keep thinking, oh, like he's not attracted to me, and so I have been on the one side, but I've also been on the other side before.
If you want me
So
to be
someone's
completely honest, like if the person didn't want to address it, I will go to the end of thinking that maybe they have a small one and they have an
yeah,
insecurity that they cannot please me.
yeah.
But then that's just me thinking way beyond the fact.
No, I did think that, but it was good. So I was like, what was the issue?
Yeah, the issue just like
I
it's just
think it was
deeper,
I think
painful.
I think also I'm more into he knew my type and he wasn't my type. So he
Yeah,
was
so you probably
nervous.
felt a little bit insecure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because that is just like a different light that you see them, kind of in
Hmm.
a like a full like they just become fully vulnerable, right? And
Yeah.
then especially because he saw that you're in such a um like superficial kind of um focus in the industry that we're in, like
Hmm.
guys just looking a certain way and looking bigger, obviously that's going to make him feel a type of way for sure. So
Yeah.
he's gonna be like, what if she doesn't like me? If
No,
she
exactly.
sees
Well,
that it's not.
he was thrown off that I liked him when I told him, because I'm straight up. I was like, yeah, I feel like I'm growing feelings for you.
I'm
And
like,
he's
yeah,
like,
I'm into you.
he was like, what? It's like, I
What?
thought you
Me
only
too.
liked these type of people. I'm like, oh, and then it made me feel weird, you know? So
Yeah,
yeah.
why would he just assume? I mean, I
I
guess
mean,
I
honestly,
see
if
his
I
point
were
of
him,
view.
I would probably assume it too, you know?
Yeah,
Everyone who looks at Pure Muscle and Fitness page is so intimidated all the time. You're like, oh, there's all these
yeah,
big guys around, you know? I would feel the exact same way, I think, you
yeah.
know? And
It's
that's why
true.
always reassuring someone too, I feel like is important. I feel like you shouldn't always have to reassure someone, but
No.
it's nice getting that reassurance, whether you're in a good phase of your relationship, whether you're in a bad phase, whatever it might be, just reassuring the person that, you know, you're still into them, or you guys are so good, or whatever. I feel like
Yeah.
that always helps relationships. And it's just nice to hear sometimes, you know, because in the beginning, you're all in the honeymoon phase, complimenting one another, saying you like them so much, whatever. So then when it starts to
You get comfortable.
honeymoon phase, yeah, so you start saying less comments. It doesn't necessarily mean that you guys aren't as into each other anymore, just
Hmm.
you aren't that expressive with one another.
Yeah.
So that constant reassurance, not constant, but once in a while, is nice to hear, you
Yeah,
know.
it's good. Like even if
Mhm.
it's like a small gesture, even through a text, it could be a text, like a
Yeah,
random text. It's the
yeah,
little things that count. But because people become so like they expect you to know by default, they feel a certain way, and
yeah,
because you're like now with each other for sure, there's no more effort to be put into terms of complimenting each other or
yeah.
yeah, so
Well, the one
uplifting each
thing I would do is if my boyfriend or whatever took me out for dinner or something, or did something nice for me or whatever, I would always message them the next day or like later that night. And or normally the next day, I would just be like, oh, thanks so much for dinner again last night. Like, I really appreciate it. Love you. Because then
other.
they're like, oh, she's still thinking about it, you know, and
Yeah,
she's appreciative that I did that, you know. And it was funny because I just always try to show appreciation through people, and because it's just important, and I just really appreciate when people do like the
yeah.
smallest little things, and that's kind of my love language too, is when people do those small little things. I notice them and those small little gestures. And my ex, after he was like with someone and whatever, he ended it with her because he was like, it was so weird going from dating you and you just appreciating things I did for you versus someone who didn't even say thank you for like even like
Then
through a drive
entitled.
through or anything, you know. It was just those little gestures that he did because he knew that I liked them, so he tried to do it with someone else, you know. But maybe her love language is different, or maybe
Yeah.
she just doesn't feel like she needs to say that, you know. Everyone's different, doesn't mean that
Hmm.
she appreciate it, you know.
Yeah. But there's
But
also the entitlement nowadays because you
yeah,
feel like you deserve it or it's part of the process. Like the man pays for everything, or
yeah,
you need to do this because you're the guy. And then it's like you have to, no one has to do anything. If you do it, it's because that person means something to you and you want to
hmm,
make them feel good.
yeah,
So the least you can do is make them feel like you actually notice their efforts, that they're trying to make you feel good
yeah.
or spoil you or something. Like you need to address the fact that you see it and you appreciate it as well, and just be like a they don't want anything back. Perhaps they
Hmm.
just want you to realize that
What they're doing.
yeah, that they're putting
Yeah.
effort,
Yeah.
whether
Just trying
it's
to make
through
you happy.
buying you something or saying something or
Writing a little note, whatever.
simple, yeah, like a
Yeah.
little I love you on a ripped piece of paper that like means a lot more to me than me
Oh,
taking
same.
him taking me
Starbucks.
on a freaking dinner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the little things to me matter the most. Like
Yeah.
I
Me
don't care
too.
for no Chanel bag.
Yeah.
It would be nice. Don't get me wrong. But that is again, it's not the point. Like the price tag is not what adds the actual value to it, but more so what they're trying to like
Show.
get across. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and then with that comes obviously how do you feel about jealousy? How do you deal with jealousy? And at what point do you think jealousy can become a toxic thing in a relationship where you're like, okay, this needs to be addressed? Or if there is no jealousy at all, like let's say if they don't care, how do you take that?
I have learned when I'm talking to someone that I'm going to hang out with guys if they're my friends. I'm going to, if someone talks to me at the gym, I'm going to talk to them back. I'm going to be respectful and nice. I'm also going to respect us in the sense that I'm not going to flirt with this person, but I'm not going to ignore this person. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I set boundaries right from the beginning and I do it every single time. I pride myself in that I always do that because I say, if you don't like it, then this isn't going to work because I will not change myself in that way because I feel like a lot of, and I tell them, I'm going to be posting my bikini pose back shot on my story probably a couple times. And I'm going to be posting my progress photos and I'm going to take photo shoots and I'm going to probably be in a bra and underwear on some of my
Mm-hmm.
stories. You know, like I make sure that that's set and I tell the person,
What to expect.
yes, exactly. Because I don't want them to think that I'm posting it for certain reasons. I go into it, them already knowing, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not me feeding for attention. It's just what I've posted and my platform that I'm posting on and that matches my platform and the audience, you know?
Well, that's the thing. Like they met you, that made you like that. Like
Mhm.
you are who you are. You carry yourself the way
Well,
you carry yourself, and they still like you. And
well,
like
that's the
I
thing
hate
is
when they try to change you.
when I go out and I meet someone and you know I got my boobs pushed up or whatever in a top,
Yeah.
and if they get mad at me for going out, which honestly I've never had a guy that has gotten mad at me for what I've worn
Where? Mm-hmm.
or anything. And I've been very lucky with that because I know a lot of guys that can be controlling. I've never had someone who told me that I can't hang out with certain people. I've never had that, but I've seen it a lot in friendships. And I feel
Yeah.
like the way that I handle it is that if I have had times where they have made comments about it where I know that they don't like it, but I respond in a way where it's like I kind of am like, what are you saying? Like, why are you even thinking that? Like, obviously, I'm not doing anything wrong. And they're like, oh, you know, it's not like I'm like, gonna apologize for something that I'm doing that's not wrong. You know, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not gonna be like, oh, sorry, like I won't post that or oh, do you think that's bad? I tell them it's not bad. And I tell them that's fine. And I'm not thinking this way. So if you're about to tell me that I'm doing something wrong, I'm telling you you're wrong because
Yeah.
I am not trying to portray as this person. And then I tell them exactly why I'm posting that or why I'm replying to this person or whatever. And if that trust is there, they'll trust me. And if they're not controlling, they won't be controlling about it, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
so I feel like all of my boyfriends have known that I have set that straight from the beginning and they can't get mad at me for it. But I'm
Yeah.
also like, if I'm going to get jealous about a guy or whatever, I have gotten jealous in the past, but I I don't know, I can't remember if I've expressed it or not, but I don't ever get jealous when any of my boyfriends have gone out before because I'm like, yeah, he looks good. I'm with him, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's how I look at it. I don't look at it like, oh my God, other girls are gonna look at him, whatever. If he's gonna respect me and he respects that we're in a relationship and he's loyal, he's not gonna hook up with somebody. And if he is gonna hook up with somebody, I'm not gonna restrict him to because he's gonna do it anyway. And if I restrict him to,
Yeah.
he's gonna want to do it even more, you know? So
And that
I
just
feel like I've
means he's
never
not the one for
been,
you.
yeah.
Period.
And I've obviously gotten jealous over some things before, especially after a breakup, seeing a guy with someone else.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hard. And I've gotten jealous about it. I just kind of try to handle it like, you know, everything happens for a reason. I'm moving on for a reason, you know, what's meant to be will be. But yeah, that's kind of how I deal with jealousy. If another guy is jealous about me or something, I just set it straight and I'm like, you, it's never going to work if it's going to bother you. But I try to tell them why I'm posting certain things so that they feel more secure about it. Because if I just say, well, you can't get mad about it, they're going to be like, well, why are you posting
Mm-hmm.
it? So I have to give an explanation, you know? How about you? Like, does you ever
I,
get jealous?
I get jealous, yes, but I feel like jealous in the sense that I honestly, okay, so here's the thing. I'm aware of perhaps, for example, Nick will have probably girls in his DMs. Okay. He said this and I believe it. Like I know this happens to a lot of guys. Girls just send stuff without even asking, like that guy's asking, you know? So I am aware of a lot of things. And I'm aware again that, for example, in my case, there are different scenarios where he has to like meet new people and he has to take pictures with people. He has to be hugged by girls. He sometimes girls ask Nick to pick them up for a picture. So it's things like that. And I'm just like, I talked to him. I said, what bugs me and what I think is appropriate and what I will feel, how he will feel if I was the one in his case, you know? So then he will feel, he's like, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. So we just came to an agreement, like, hey, like pictures, hugging, it's part of the process. I'm not gonna get jealous just because a fan comes up to him and then says some things, you know what I mean? Because I'm sure about who I am, what I bring to the table in what we have, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
in that sense, I would feel a little disrespected if he was willing to do something like pick them up and then perhaps holding by their butt or something like that. Oops. Um, but I think it's things that I communicated and I'm aware of things, but I also don't pay attention to them because I know he won't do this to me. Because again, I think it all comes down to telling them exactly what bugs you and vice versa, and putting scenarios that, okay, what if you were me? What if I was you? And then you look at the picture from both points of view.
I agree with you. You have to look at it from both views because
Yeah.
you can't just say this is wrong and then tell you their emotions of how they felt towards a situation. You almost have to put yourself
In
in the
their
other person's
shoes.
position to be able
Yeah.
to understand it. That's good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially if it's part of your job. Like, for example, you do fitness. It's part of what you do. It promotes your brand. Again, I've said this before, there are classy ways to be out there, especially when it comes to you showing your body. Okay, there's a certain level that you surpass that you're like, okay, now you're being a little bit hoish and then you're being classy about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, um, if the person meets me and they know that it's part of what I do, then they need to accept it. But we can also have a talk of how far you can take it. For example, yes, Nick, like sometimes triggers, like some comments may trigger your partner. For example, guys or girls commenting hearts or things like that. And you can need to get past it, but sometimes they get brought up. And then, for example, he has told me, well, when you post these things that are like your boobs are very like out there, it can look very sexual. And he tells me the point of view of how he sees it. And then I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. It can be sexualized because, hey, there's a huge cleavage situation going on. It can be taken the wrong way, like when I put it out there by
Yeah.
girls, by guys, and it can lead them to disrespect me because I'm putting myself out there in a certain way.
Yeah.
So we've talked about those things, and then I see how he sees it, and then he makes me like rethink, not rethink what I'm posting, but more so the way that I'm posting, because he
Yeah.
has no problem me showing skin or anything. I even like some dresses that are very like showy and like sexy. Sometimes he's like, yeah, like get it. Why wouldn't you get it? Like
Yeah.
you got a great body, like you gotta show it off. He's like, and he will like me to wear it even more like when I'm with him, just because he's like, I would not rather, it's not like he wants me to cover up when I'm not with him, but also he's like, I will feel proud to for people to see me with you, even if you look like sexy,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
So
exactly.
so it's just things like that. I think it all comes down to communication again,
Yeah.
and just
And trust.
expressing and
Well,
trusting.
I guess thinking about my scenario, I haven't had a boyfriend after I had my breast done, but I feel like there has been situations that, and I feel like I would feel them more if I had a boyfriend now. If I did have a lot of cleavage or something, I probably would think about before posting it, thinking, what would he think?
Hmm.
And then just post it anyway. But
Yeah,
the thought definitely would come to my head still. It's not me just saying, oh yeah, like I'm doing whatever, you know?
yeah, because
But I
it's
have a
kind of like
question for you.
breaking the internet, and that can give
Yeah.
the wrong idea to the wrong people.
Yeah.
And again, people can comment, and then that may trigger your partner. Even so, there are no reasons why you should worry, but there's still like that sense of respect that you give to
Right.
yourself.
Yeah.
Hence the way people are going to treat you, and then the way they're going to see him because you are portraying yourself a certain way. And that comes, and I think it's just like more like the way that he does it is a self-reflecting way for me to realize, hey, people may get the wrong idea, but
Yeah.
up to you to what you post.
Right. I feel like your scenario too is a lot different than, let's say, my scenario, because with
Mm-hmm.
Nick, he has a big audience and everyone always has something to say, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But I have a question for you.
What?
So, um, if you're in a very trusting relationship, okay?
Yeah.
Um, and you know, Nick gets an offer from some Instagram model on Instagram to fly him down to go do a cologne photo shoot, and they're going to be rubbing oil all over their body, taking photos for this new perfume that's in your face or in his face, and this girl's face is going to be on the bottle of it, and they're going to be in their underwear. What would you allow that to happen?
I mean, if I go with him, I wouldn't have a problem.
So I decided this is what I did. This is how chill I am and how crazy. Sometimes I'm apparently too chill, but then I realized maybe I am, because my ex, he saw this opportunity online. I'm like, sign up for it, because he wanted to get into modeling. This is a pretty boy, right? I'm like, oh my God, you should so do it. See, I didn't think he was actually going to get it. He got it. Not thinking I wasn't confident in him, but I thought so many guys would have applied. I'm like, oh, what are the chances? Is she's in the States, whatever, you're here. He got it. This girl has millions of followers on Instagram. He flew down to Arizona or whatever. Down to Arizona. I was like, I saw a message on his phone before he left of his friend saying, and I was chill with it. I was like, this is great. This could give you an opportunity. I was so happy about it. I knew what they were going to do, and I was happy for him. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you know what? The photos might piss me off a little bit, but if it's going to give you more opportunities, and if you miss out on this and you could really, benefit from this, I don't want to be the reason why you're not given more opportunities. Right. And then it was like in 2 days. So, and I was in school, and I was like, you know what, just go. It's fine. I saw a message on his phone, him texting his roommate, being like, if that is going to happen, I think that you should break up with Britt before you go, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I asked him what it was. He's like, oh no, he just thought that maybe like I wanted to do something with her or whatever. And this girl, like, he's fangirled over, right? So here I am. I think I'm an idiot, right? I'm like, why am I letting him do this? He goes down, whatever. Wouldn't answer me the whole time. I'm like, oh my God, I'm letting him do this to me right now. Comes back. I get all the photos. It was awful. I was like, oh my God, they're literally in oil everywhere, rubbing up against each other, holding this cologne. So bad. He
Okay.
untagged me from all of his photos so that I wouldn't get followers from him because he was getting so many. Anyway.
Okay, well,
I ended up looking at the messages. They were messaging back and forth. He wanted to go back down. I thought he cheated on me, like it was that bad, But that just shows right there how much you can trust somebody and them just break it in a second. But if I restricted him from doing that, he would want to go even more, because he's like, what the hell? I don't want to be held back,
Well, he already had the bad intentions.
I know.
Did you break up with him after that?
Yeah, I did. And then I got back to it with him a month later, and then I broke up with him again, and it was done.
Okay, yeah, because that's a huge disrespect right there.
Yeah, I know.
And then that breaks the trust for sure.
But that hurts me for later on in relationships, because I have a very hard issue with trusting people, but it's because people have broken my trust so much. And like, I am so fine with people doing stuff. It's like, if you're going to do something, you're going to do it anyway. That's what I always tell myself. It's like, okay, you want to go.
No one's going to stop you.
Do something. Yeah, you're going to do it anyway. You're going to
no matter what I
say.
Do
it. Yeah. So it's like, instead of acting crazy and restricting him to do it, and then us fighting about it, and then us, making our relationship worse.
Yeah.
Just let you go do it. And if we love each other and we trust each other, you're not going to do anything to me.
No, it all comes down to respect.
Yeah.
Because if you respect that person or you actually love them, you won't do anything to
them. That's why I asked you, because everyone's like, why would you let him do that? I'm like, I don't know. I just thought it was a good opportunity for him. And I was looking at his best intentions, and I was putting my feelings aside,
For example, I get what you're saying, because even Nick wants to get into acting. Let's say, like, he does it. And we've talked about
wants to get into acting, eh? Every single one that I've talked to.
Well, especially because they can get roles where like people don't look like regular average people, right? So instead of having someone with all these fictional like effects, whatever they have nowadays to make them bigger, you can have a real human looking that way, you don't have to paint them or anything. So so I said, like, well, let's say you get into acting and then you have to have like a sex scene with someone. He's like, how would you feel? So in my head, I'm like, if you're getting paid thousands and like whatever, if it's professional, it will be hard to freaking see and just like to accept the fact that that is your job, like it's part of your job. And it will have to be like, I feel like if you keep it professional, I feel like there wouldn't be any feelings. But then you've seen these actors and actresses just
Okay,
develop a
Angelina Jolie.
relationship. Yeah,
I know.
because they were in roles together.
But
So
if your guy did that with someone, then you would just know it's not meant to be anyway, you know? So it's
exactly.
everything happens for a reason.
So and I said, I'm like, well, if you keep it professional and you go with your mindset to do that, then you won't allow it to happen, because then you know there's someone you're with, and then if you really want to be with that person, nothing will distract you from it.
Yeah.
So again, like you said, if they want to do it, they'll do it. And then if
Yeah.
something sparks, then it was because that is the person for him, and I'm just supposed to be with someone else.
It would
Like,
suck. Honestly, straight up, it would fucking suck.
oh yeah,
But
one
at the
thousand
same time,
percent.
it's kind of like I would allow it. But if my guy got a hard on with another, oh my God, I would just, oh, it would
And that's the
kill.
thing, like those things you cannot
You can't really control. Like if someone's
control.
kissing you and like touching you, it's like you're gonna get hard, you
It's just
know?
like like natural, like human behavior, like instinct. You can't even, it's involuntary. So
Yeah.
if you get like a little like spark over there and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I got a little excited, it's not like you're gonna be like, "Ah, stop it."
Yeah. Exactly.
So, but I don't think in like settings like that you can, because it's like all these people and then it's action and you're like, you have to get the scene. So I feel like you're focused on getting the scene rather than feeling whatever you're feeling.
Yeah.
So I think
And
we
also
just see
everyone's
it.
watching you act out. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
that's what I'm saying. It's like
yeah.
solely professional. Like I don't think you can
Yeah.
think
I
about
would,
anything else other than I gotta get this line right. You know?
yeah. Like at the end of the day, I would allow them to do it because it's like it's life, it's
Yeah,
their
me too.
job,
And if it's your
you know.
dream,
Well, it's
who
kind of like
am
my
I
sister
to
with
stop you?
modeling. Like she's had to, just be in photos with guys before and like they're shirtless or whatever. And
Hmm.
obviously it makes him a little bit angry. Oh, 11:11. Obviously it makes him a little bit angry or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's her job and like she's getting paid for it. And they have no relationship at all, except for on the job site. When they leave, they don't talk to one another.
Hmm.
Like if there was a situation where they weren't friends before and then they kind of built a friendship, but they kept communicating a lot after
Yeah,
and
if they're
texting each
go
other back and
hang
forth, I'd be
out,
like, whoa, like you guys started sexting
yeah,
together, why are you like hanging
hanging
out
out.
now or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that will
mean,
be
building a
like,
friendship's fine, but if there's a line,
yeah.
you know
And I think you have to be reasonable, not go just psycho mode right away.
yeah,
Because I feel like that's what most girls struggle with. Is like sometimes just take a step back and again, get your point across, and perhaps he'll tell you his side. Then you can put yourself in his shoes, and then vice versa. But I
exactly.
think it takes a level of maturity to get to that point, because I
Yeah.
was not always like that.
And it's hard. It's not like I would just be like, oh, for sure, go ahead. I would be like, oh, like, let's
No,
have a discussion about it. I'm telling you how I'm feeling, but I trust you, but I just want to let you know, like, I'm having a hard time right now.
it will break my
But
heart to even like
yeah,
watch and be like, yeah.
I know. I don't think I could watch it.
But I don't think I could either. I feel like I'd rather just leave it to my imagination to like whatever happened,
Yeah.
and then that's it. But I don't know. I think it's tough, but again, it's just down to you can't stop your partner from chasing their dreams or going for what they want.
Yeah.
You need to be supportive, but you also need to know how to get your feelings or how that decision is going to affect your life,
Yeah.
and just come to an agreement. If your worlds don't fit at all and you love each other, I feel like sometimes you can love someone from a distance, but sometimes being together hurts you more. So, and then you have to take different paths because your paths no longer align, you know?
Yeah.
And it's a
No.
hard decision to make, especially when you love someone and you care for them and you know they're a good person. You're like, well, what if you were my person? And we just ended in what if,
Yeah.
So I know it's a tough line to draw there.
You know.
So, yep.
But
But yeah.
yeah.
So what's
I
the
feel like
takeaway? The takeaway from this episode for you?
what do you mean? Like, what am
What's
I
your
leaving with?
yeah, what are you leaving with today, or what do you want to say to whoever's listening to this, to kind of like just wrap it all up?
I feel like we talked about a lot of topics, but at the
Yeah.
end of the day, we talked a lot about trusting. You know, you
Mhm.
have to be okay with yourself in order to trust someone as well and to continue a relationship 100%. And I feel like also in relationships too, there's so many different attractions that and ways that you're attracted to people. It's not always physical, it can be emotional attraction as well. And gaining that to be, what am I trying to say? Becoming more attractive to someone, looks only go so far. It's
Yeah.
not just looks, it's all about how you communicate with one another. It's about communication, it's about trust, it's about your interest, it's about so many more things. So like relationships, yes, you might like someone based off of, you know, physical appearance at first, but it can either go uphill or downhill based off of how you communicate with one another.
Yeah. Yeah, 1000%. If there is like no substance to that person, there's not going to be substance to whatever you want to build with that person. And again, you have to be open to experience and to give the benefit of the doubt to those who deserve your energy, but you also need to know when to say, okay, this is not for me if it's not making you better, or if it's not making you grow. And just have that trust in yourself, that you respect yourself enough to set your boundaries and your grounds with people. And yeah, just trust and communication with
And
yourself, with others. Mm-hmm.
never get in a relationship until you are in a good spot yourself, I feel, because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you can lash out on other people in a relationship right off the bat, and you don't want to set it off on a bad note. You know, if
Yeah,
you're not
no.
okay by yourself, I think it's a little bit some selfish to get with someone else
Yeah.
and
And
drag
like,
it.
if you're not happy with yourself, you're going to rely on that other person to be happy. And then when that person perhaps decides to walk away, then you're left with nothing.
Hmm.
So you only have yourself at the end of the day, whether things go well or not. So you need to prepare yourself to be completely equipped for whatever it is, for a relationship that's either um, toxic because of jealousy, or because of, obviously, like, again, you focus on the appearance and then you end up seeing all their flaws after.
Yeah.
And just don't settle. If you're a girl putting up with shit, just don't settle, because there's so much more out there. There's so much more that you could
So
be
many
doing
fish in
for
the sea.
yourself.
Yeah,
And perhaps there is a person out there for you. There's for sure a person out there for you. I feel like there's a person for
100%.
everyone. So just don't settle and don't look for it. I feel like it'll come to you at the right time. And then just believe in the timing that life gives you, and everything that it's happening in your life. It's it's happening for a reason,
Reason, yeah.
and it's never going to be always pretty, but it'll get easier as you go, and it'll make sense at some
Yeah,
point, hopefully. But with
agree.
that being said, um we hope that
Thank you
obviously
for
you guys
tuning in.
enjoyed this. I can't speak English today, but anyway, besides the point, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Obviously, it was a little bit of everything, and at the end of the day, we just want to talk about our experience for you to
Be relatable.
see the value that's within you, and that everything that you need is within you. Um,
No,
yeah,
you're not alone because
no,
all of us are experiencing it together, but might not be said, but we're saying it right now.
yeah. So, with that being
Okay.
said, no one night stands. I'm
No, nice what?
kidding. No one night stands.
Oh, yeah.
That was my takeaway. I'm kidding.
Yes.
No, there's so much more to it. But anyway, see you guys in the next episode. Bye.